We are leaving on our trip tomorrow, and we've got to turn all of this into neatly packed luggage. Wish us luck. No, that turned it on. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. All right, we did it. So we've got these guys over here. We've got the bottle of wine for Ryan. We've got the bag to be checked. We've got Emmette's backpack here. This backpack is awesome. It's huge. And then we've got... Yeah, you went through Europe with it. How long were you in Europe with it? 2.5 weeks. And then we've got my dad's bag, which can be a backpack or an over-the-shoulder bag. We're doing the over-the-shoulder bag. This is actually also really awesome. I'm pretty impressed. And that's all we're bringing to Southeast Asia. Sorry, I was distracted by this little guy that goes, it can actually zip onto there. Yeah, here we go.
This is another berry.
We're gonna load the car. We're leaving for a while. Hello, so we're driving from Baltimore up to New York to catch our flight tonight. This is our handsome chauffeur over here, and this is why we decided that even though we were getting married in May, we were going to go on our honeymoon in February because
That's
this weather,
how you get ants.
this weather is a little bit gross. So we're actually making pretty good time, and we should get to the airport around 6, which is more than enough time. Our flight doesn't leave until right after midnight, so
12:20 in the a.m.
yep, it's a 16-hour and 10-minute flight, and we will be getting into Taipei at, what is it, 5:30 in the morning local time on Thursday morning? Yeah, the time zones are a little bit confusing, combined with the 16-hour flight, but we are all set. Everything's going really smoothly so far, except I put my tea on the top of the car when I was putting my bags in the car, and then we drove off without it. So I didn't get to finish my tea, but that's okay. So it's May now. We're in mid-May. We just had our first anniversary. I'm going through our footage from our honeymoon. So we went to Taiwan, Vietnam, Thailand, and then
Denmark.
Also bonus Denmark for our honeymoon. And we brought so we took lots of pictures on our iPhones, but we also brought a
GoPro.
a GoPro,
Hero.
and I'm going through the footage from the GoPro. So we just bought it right before we went on the trip. Since we were filming in public in strange countries, there's not a whole lot of like explanation of what's going on. So that's why I wanted to sort of sit down and talk so we would remember what happened during the trip with a little bit more detail. I tried to make a journal the entire time, and it was pretty good. So I have events written down of what happened every day. When we go back to look at the videos later, we can actually remember what happened. We raised the camera up a little bit so it wasn't cutting our heads off.
Off with his head.
Okay, so why did we decide to go to Southeast Asia for our honeymoon?
It's a fantastic place to go. Vietnam and Thailand, between them, have more World Heritage sites than most places on Earth. And it's,
we didn't actually go to any.
Yeah, well, I mean.
But that's beside the point. So we had planned to go to see Vietnam and Thailand. We'd never been to those areas of the world. It was going to be a totally new experience. This was our first international trip together. We both traveled a little bit separately before we met, but we hadn't been overseas together. And then we ended up going to Taiwan beforehand because we were going to be so close to Taiwan, and we had a friend who had just moved back home there. We got to see some nature and the city, and
we got to see a religious festival with giant dead pigs, and I mean,
but we'll get to that.
Compression socks, if you're gonna go on a long flight, use compression
Definitely.
socks.
So we had a 16-hour flight, and we both had compression socks that came up to our knees. My notes from the flight was long, food was good the first time. We were on it long enough to get 2 airplane meals, which are normally terrible, but EVA had some pretty good.
When we got to immigration in Taiwan, so Taiwan has free Wi-Fi for everyone, And so we were frantically trying to email my friend Ryan, because the only thing that immigration cares about is that you give them the address of where you're staying.
Right. So he was picking us up from the airport. That all went fine. He was there. He had our flight information.
Yeah, he was confused as to why it was taking us so long.
In order for us to actually exit the airport and go through immigration, we needed to have an address. So we couldn't get a hold of him because our phones didn't work, and we didn't have a way to reach him. We managed to get online, and I looked up the name of a hotel, and I just wrote down that address on both of our immigration cards. And then
that's where we would have stayed if we hadn't have been able to get in contact.
Right. I mean, we were kind of winging it the whole time. We made it work. So that was fun. And then we had our one checked bag and the bottle of wine. And Ryan and his father met us at the airport and drove us on back to Ryan's parents' house.
Yeah, their apartment
in Taipei City. So we went to his parents' apartment and we ate rice cakes with sesame, red bean, and green bean, which is sort of, he said it was like a guest tradition, or a tradition for welcoming guests.
So they weren't really rice cakes. It was more like mochi. Right? So, no, but it was like mochi. It was a glutinous rice wrapper, it wasn't crunchy.
No, it was soft.
It was soft and chewy. So basically it was mochi filled with sweetened green beans, sweetened red beans, sweetened sesame. What was the other one? I think there
Sesame, red bean, and green bean. There were 3.
Oh, there were 3. Okay. I'm not completely...
and then Ryan's dad made us tea with his sort of elaborate, the accoutrements that you have, the teapot, and he has like a little ceremony that involves the water at just the right temperature and then pouring it over the cups and the pot, and there's sort of like a timing to it, and it's like a really neat little ceremony. So we had a few cups of tea, which was really delicious. The tea from different seasons and different years, and they're all slightly
elevations, different tea growers, and his father Ryan has an insane palate for tea and coffee and everything else, but like between the two of them, they're like the world's best experts.
I sort of felt like it was the quality of the tea was being lost on me because I don't know that much about tea, but it was still really, really cool to try all the different kinds and learn about how they make it with all the little, like the ancient little clay ceramic teapots and everything.